my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and I'm joined with my good friend Mark Olroyd from
Hi.
Suddenly Comics. And we are the Price Variants, and we are going to be talking about the hottest Silver Age books of the week. This is kind of like the after show. And the reason I say that is there was this massive sale, this insane sale, where if you watch last week's video, it was just like this massive sale. Like, $1 million book, $1 million book, million. It's just, and this is the heritage auction after that. So nobody has any money left. They've spent it all. They bought their $1 million books, and now we're seeing what's left. Are there any books even left to buy after spending so much money? So this is that auction. So we're gonna see how well things performed, and hopefully we're gonna see some cool books. So what's the first book, Mark?
Really nice one.
Oh, I love this book.
Really
So
nice.
yeah, Astro Boy #1. This is actually the first appearance of Astro Boy in the US.
Yeah. So is this the first US manga?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not sure if there was maybe earlier things, but this is like,
Very early. This is 65. I can't imagine there's much more before this.
yeah, I mean that's pretty early. But there were a few other. I'm just trying to think of what other manga-ish kind of things would have been other than this. I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, this is pretty early. I mean, this is early even for Japanese.
Yeah.
Like most of the manga I think of like as 70s or 80s, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Astro Boy is like kind of like uh probably most people's first introduction to manga.
Yeah. I mean, absolute classic. I mean, I love that cover. Uh,
Mhm.
so clean. Um, very nice.
Yeah, so
I've
and
absolutely,
these books are hard to get in high grade.
yeah, I imagine they are. Gold key from this period of time, really difficult
Yeah,
to grade.
because you gave it to kids and they were just
You gave it to
mutilated.
kids, and also they sat in dollar bins being fingered by everybody.
Yeah, and this is Patty's copy, so she kept care of it a little bit better. Did you see that? It's Patty. Yes. Okay, so
I don't know how
is
long she had it for.
is it is it Patty or yeah, it looks like
Is it
Patty. I don't
Patty
know.
or is it Paul?
It
Paul.
looks like that looks like a T. That's a T.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's a T. Pat Patty. Yeah.
I don't know. It looks like Patty. I don't know. Well, we could do
If you're watching Patty, let us know.
please let us know. Yes.
We
Okay.
we know where your comic's gone.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look at this. So $336. That sounds cheap for such a great
I
comic.
know. To me, it sounds cheap too. Let's see.
This is a 5.5. Oh, it is cheap.
Hmm.
That's it there.
And what was the previous record for this book?
Is that the one? 336, yes. Yeah, that's it. That's
Okay.
it there. So the previous one sold for 770. So it's
Okay.
half the
Wow.
previous sale.
And
Which,
this is something I've noticed before with heritage auctions. Like sometimes if you come in after the big sale, you can get some really big steals.
wow,
I,
it's already
I've
got a
had
big steal here because this has been consistently rising
yeah,
with February last year, and then somebody's got this for half price.
yeah, it's really that's a nice pickup.
That's a really good.
Um, so three
If I'd seen that, I'd have bought that. I was looking at Heritage because I've got some money to spend at Heritage, but this wasn't on my radar. But if I'd seen this, I would have been tempted.
yeah, when I saw this price, I was thinking it seemed a bit low.
Well, it's half
Yeah,
price.
wow,
That's just a
half price.
that I think that's an outlier. I think the next time
Yeah,
it sells, it'll be back up here.
yeah, of course. What is the census count for this book?
I can't imagine it's very big. 124.
Wow. I mean, that just tells you how rare it is.
Yeah, yeah,
And probably gets like if you can we look at the actual census in terms of the
yeah,
books by grade?
yeah. So
I
there's
mean, if you look,
19596, there's 4994s. So yeah,
there are not many above that 5.5. That probably is like actually one of the higher grades. It's a lot of low, like if you look at the numbers, it's a lot of low grade copies.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the most significant sale was last February of a $908,000.
Wow.
That was a biggie.
Wow.
There's
I
not,
think I have like a raw, like my comic shop 6.0, I think it is.
well, he's still $700 worth, if not more, I would have thought.
Mm. So yeah, so that's a pretty cool book. Okay,
Yeah,
interesting way to
don't
start.
stand there. Wait.
A little bit of a
Okay.
disappointment that it
But
didn't do
this
well.
is
But
really nice as well. Again, if I'd seen this, I would have bought this. I'd if
so do
seven.
you know what the
I was actually
significance of the book?
watching this auction. I actually saw this. I saw a couple of these comics, and I didn't put them on my watch list because I thought I wouldn't be able to afford them. I could have afforded this at $384.
And do you know what this is?
This
What the
is the
significance is?
Joker kite cover, isn't it?
But it's also the first time you see the Joker in the Silver Age.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like on the cover. I mean, he's in the books before that, but this is the first cover.
Yeah, it
It
doesn't.
doesn't say it, but it is the first cover. I did like a big thing where I was researching where's the first Joker cover and the Silver Age, and
I mean, this sounds ridiculously low to me, but the DC comics do go for lower prices.
yeah, I think this is low actually. I'm pretty sure.
$384 for this. If I
Oh,
literally, I would
7.5.
have definitely bought that at $384. If I'd seen that, if I'd been in there, I'd have bought that.
Yeah, it's a great cover too.
Seven
It's
five.
like such
Look
a
at the condition of that. From
yeah,
what are we in? 60 somewhere. 60.
early 60. Yeah, it should be like it's a 10 center. So
Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's have a look at this, Alan. Um, oh, it's actually up. Oh, okay, it's up.
it is up.
It's a record.
And that just shows you how undervalued
So
DC
it's
books are.
ridiculously undervalued. These DC comics are. I thought that was a low price. It isn't it? Last one sold for
No.
227.
Wow. So it's way up, but I wouldn't have guessed that. I thought it was down too. I was like, oh
Problem is,
man.
we get used to those Marvel prices, and
Yeah.
I wonder what the census on this is.
I can't imagine it being very high.
359. Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
Whereas if this was a Marvel book, it'd be like 3,000. You know?
Yeah, it'd be 3,000, and there'd be 3,000 of them. Um,
Yeah, yeah, it'd be a lot more expensive.
Wow. There we
Yeah,
go. Another DC minor key record
going
price,
up.
Alan. It keeps happening.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I mean, it's like several weeks in a row where we've
Yeah,
had
it
that
is.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Consistently.
so yeah, so there's a lot of DC on this list. I was finding that the more obscure stuff was mostly DC stuff. So you'll
Yeah.
see a lot of hopefully some records consistently.
Okay.
Um, so
Well,
that's a good one.
that is a good one. I like that one. I'm a bit
And
annoyed.
actually, if you look at this, the trend line on it, there was no COVID bump. It was just a gradual, consistent kind of increase.
Yeah, no
Like,
Kobe. No.
yeah. So
No.
yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's a good one.
Right.
Next one is a good Marvel book.
Yeah. Now then, I actually bought a copy of this at the last London Comic Mart I was at. A guy
Okay.
came round to me. And he'd been round the London Comic Mart before, and he said to me, I've got Sergeant Fury #1. Would you be interested in buying it?" And I said, "Well, I don't really collect war comics, but I'm a trader, so I would give you half market value for it."
Okay.
So he said, "Fair enough." So he brought it in, and I reckon
Mhm.
it was about a 3035.
Okay.
same as this, and I gave him £160 for it.
Wow, that's amazing deal, by the way.
So I think I got a pretty good deal. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I think I paid more for my lower grade copy. I think mine's a 2.0 of this book.
okay. I mean, it's ungraded,
It
but
is
it's a raw.
it is a major key. It's a
Yeah,
major key.
yeah, it is a major key. Yeah.
It's
Uh,
got the first appearance of well, Nick Fury, right? Sergeant Fury.
I'm going to clean it,
Um,
press it, and probably get it graded. Um,
yeah.
because it'll sell more graded. Um, yeah.
Okay, so I think this is probably might be up then if it's based on your if it's
I
based
don't
on
I
your
don't think
pricing.
it is because I think I looked at this chart when I was looking at what to pay him. And I've got a
Okay.
feeling this is down.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see how it did. Oh yes. But
So
it's still above the trend
yeah,
actually.
I mean
So
it's yeah, I mean it's above here. It's above pre-COVID. Uh,
yeah. And what was the peak on this? Like a
yeah,
thousand
it's at
something?
1,780, which is crazy. I mean, I paid 160 quid for this. Um, yeah, so I
And then
yeah,
even recently it had like $1,100 sale, it looks like there.
that's that one there, that peak there. Can you see that little part speak peak there?
Yeah, it's like 1,100.
Yeah, the one before, yeah, in December. Yeah. Somebody
Oh, okay.
sold it at a fixed price on each.
That's
Yeah.
that's interesting. So wow. So yeah, so it's down. But if you look at the trend line, if you kind of like, I always like to ignore that bump. I just, especially with Marvel books, it's way above that trend line.
Yeah, it's nice. It is way above the trend line. It's holding its pre-COVID value quite well. Um, it's a bit up and down here. It looks to me like it's finding its price around this sort of level. Um,
Yeah, I think it's probably going to settle at either $700 to $800 range, would be
yeah,
my guess.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it is a key book. First appearance of Nick Fury. He is one of the key characters in the Marvel.
And he's had his own show. He's done a bunch of stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
And this is not just Nick Fury's first appearance either. It is
yeah,
the
it's like all the commandos.
first appearance of Dum Dum Duggan and the Howlers.
Yeah. Duncan is pretty major character in the
He's this
comics.
guy here with the moustache throwing the head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But they're like, always in the comics together.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, so and this has a fairly low census count
What
for
is it?
Marvel.
It's a Marvel comic, so it shouldn't be that low. Oh, it is quite low for Marvel. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's actually like if you look at like Hulk 1, which we will be later, it's around the same. And that's considered a rare book. This is I think a fairly hard book to find for Marvel.
Well, because it's not a superhero, is it? This is the age of the superheroes. This is a war comic.
Yeah, it was
So
very out of place. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is a war comic coming out of Marvel, who were basically known for, Spider-Man,
Superheroes. Yeah.
Fantastic Four, the superhero genre. Yeah. So I suspect
Yeah.
that's why it's lower numbers.
Yeah. But it's okay. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, nice comic though. Um, yeah, it's nice to own a number one, an early no, a what number one from. It's an affordable one.
1963. Yeah.
It's more affordable than most of the others. It's more affordable than Hulk one anyway. Right, here we go. Next up, right, Strange Adventures 205. This is the first appearance of Deadman.
Yes. Um, it was, this is a pretty cool comic. I
Yeah,
forget
this,
who did the
yeah,
Yeah, I have this one as well. It's a pretty cool story too. He basically gets murdered, and his thing is he's basically well, not cursed, but he's stuck on Earth until he solves his own murder.
right, okay. Has that occurred yet?
Well, I'm not sure how that works after his murderer is dead now too. Um, yeah, I only read the first few issues of his story, but yeah, it was really interesting. It was a very cool story. He's a bit of a jerk, I thought, but at first, he's a bit of a loner kind of type, but he actually always does good things for other people. And then he gets murdered, and then you got to figure out how he gets. And this kind of this Indian guy, like spirit, Vishnu, gives him the power to kind of come back from the dead and then occupy other people's bodies.
Okay. Yeah.
Very cool character.
This is a
Uh,
pedigree as well, by the looks of it. It's got a stamp on it saying the Oregon Coast.
yeah, I actually have one book from that too. It's not a full pedigree. It's kind of like one of those semi pedigrees. It's
Yeah.
I don't know why what the determination is with CGC, why they do sometimes like that. Like there's a whole bunch of them. There's like the Black Cat one. There's the Farmer collection. There's like a whole bunch of these like collections, but they're not pedigrees. It's
Yeah.
it's sort of like a different denotation.
Yeah.
But, but yeah, so yeah, I always thought Deadman was kind of a cool character. So yeah.
Well, nice. The first appearance. $900 for a 7.5.
Hmm.
Sounds okay that to me, given that Batman only went for $400 and it was a 7.5. Mind you, this is a
Yeah.
first appearance, isn't it?
Yeah, this is
Have a
a pretty
look.
major key actually. And it's also, you look at the census, it's 1300 on the census.
Okay, so
So
this is here, so it's fairly flat. So it's
but
keeping
flat,
its COVID price.
yeah. I mean, that's actually, I would actually say that's a pretty major record. If you actually follow the trend line, it is just constantly going up. If you follow, like ignoring the COVID
Oh, from
bump,
down
it's
here,
flat
yeah,
to the,
yeah. This is
yeah,
gradually. Yes, this
yeah,
is a good solid line up, isn't it? And
yeah,
it's largely held its COVID peak.
yeah.
Very good.
which is which is a good song. I think part of the reason it's a DC book, it didn't
Yeah,
have like it did have a massive bump on the COVID during the
it did,
COVID time.
but it
And
hasn't.
the reason for that during COVID, they were talking about Justice League Dark, and
Oh yeah,
Justice League
yeah,
Dark
yeah,
features Deadman.
yeah.
So there was that hype, but the fact that it's maintained, I think shows that people are actually considering DC as a, you know, place to go.
Definitely. I think you need to get in on some of these DC keys because that definitely is the story that we're seeing here over the last 2 or 3 months.
Mhm.
DC minor keys, good value, and holding their money if not going up.
And I think this is one of those things where there was a lot of speculation with different Marvel properties when during COVID, like, WandaVision or whatever. And then there were all the keys associated to that thing would be like Spike, right? And then I think with this is what we have is it's a James Gunn effect where people are a little bit upset with Marvel right now. Like, Marvel didn't really perform as well as they expected. And there's a lot of hope for DC in general, just anything DC, because maybe things will be different at DC. And I think what'll happen is we'll see continual rise of DC books until the very first movie. And in terms of comics, it's going to be
Well,
one of those things that make
it's
or
that
break.
it's the new Superman it's Superman rebooted, isn't it? It's going to be the first major one.
Yeah, and if it does well, then I think we'll see that continual trend. If the movie tanks, if it does terribly, this could be like the we're walking towards a cliff. Again, books will drop back to some pre-COVID price. Um, so yeah, so I'm kind of hope optimistic, but I'm holding my breath a little bit on this one.
Okay, let's go for the next one. Oh, it's a detective comics. A nice one.
And
I don't think we've seen this
this one,
before.
I I watch this book all the time because I kind of like this book. I've always thought this was a cool book. I have a copy of it. Mine's a 1.0 or a 1.5, but
Okay.
it's like really low grade. Um, but this is the first appearance of the second Mad Hatter.
Oh,
I
well,
always And I always like this because he has all these hats on his wall.
Yeah. So he's got a
Uh,
deer stalker. He's got a sort of a witch hunter. Yeah, sort of pilgrim
and he
hat.
has like a little flash one. He has the tricorn hat, and he has like a whole
He's
bunch
got a
of like the
fireman's hat.
fireman. Yeah. And then you see one that's reserved for Batman. So Robin's going to be okay on this one, but
Yeah,
Batman not so much.
yeah. Not seen this cover before. I hadn't really hit
Oh,
my.
really? I've always liked this one. So this is yeah, Detective Comics
It doesn't
230.
say the second Mad Hatter. It just says a first appearance of Mad Hatter.
Yeah, it's the second Mad Hatter. The first Mad Hatter was in Batman 49,
Okay,
and then this is the second Mad Hatter.
okay. Right. So how did this one do? So $900 for a 5.0. Sounds okay.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
And this is
$900.
usually an expensive book though. Like I've always seen it go for crazy
Oh,
prices.
well, look at this one, Alan. What a
Oh
classic
yeah.
classic graph.
That's what we like. That's what we like to see. That
That's
just that
another DC.
perfect.
It's another DC record, Alan.
Yeah, a nice perfect line, isn't it? Like
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's only based on three sales.
mhm.
Because how many of these are there? I bet there's not many of these.
There's not many. It's a hard
There's
book
only
to find.
130 of these, Alan.
Yeah, it's a really hard book to find. Every time, like I've seen it at auction maybe 4 times. And I got one of the copies that I saw, and then the other times I would always get outbid. I was like, "Oh man, this book is always crazy expensive." It's just like such a hard book to get.
It's so rare. I mean, every time it comes up, people are going to want to buy it, aren't they? If they're missing it out of their Detective Comics run.
Hmm.
I mean, there's only 130. So
Yeah, that's.
we only need
I mean,
130 Allens and nobody's going to see it.
so what was the previous sale for this? There looks like there was one big sale, and but it's like a best
Previous
offer, so we
sale
don't
was
know what.
719 in 2019. So no COVID sales. Uh,
Okay,
and next one, 5 years later, 900. That's okay.
so it's up a couple $100.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not bad.
that's all right.
Like 25% up. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
So okay, so DC, good story. Marvel, not bad actually. Even Marvel, not so bad. I would say with the Sergeant Fury.
No, Sergeant
Um,
Fury was, yeah. I mean, it's down from COVID peak, but it's above its pre-COVID levels, so that's all
it's
right.
sort of holding its own, is my
It is,
point.
yeah, yeah.
So that is the first 5 books. There's going to be 5 more. And we're going to look at those 5 books, and they're big books. It gets bigger each. Each book is a slightly more expensive, slightly bigger. We're going to look at those on Mark's channel. So go over to Mark's channel. The link is in the description. Go over there, see the last 5. One is kind of like one that I picked as an update, just to see how it performed after having a massive sale during the massive sale auction. So go over to Mark's channel, look at that. It's going to be pretty crazy. So thanks again, Mark, and bye for
Cheers,
now,
Alan.
everyone.
See you shortly.